Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Happy Friday, or happy every other Friday. Oh, how you all doing? It's good to see you all. Let's say hello to a few of you. We have a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, the title of this live stream is what I want to talk about today. Watch out because something big is about to happen. I don't know what it is, but something big is about to happen. And I'm going to tell you why I think so. But you know that we all have to say hello to each other first. So let's see who's here. We have Sheila Wixon here today. Yarn Prepper. I thought you weren't going to be here today. Okay, who else do we have? We have JT. How are you doing, JT? Chelsea Hutchinson, hello. Jan Penland is in the house. We've got 3 out of our 4 moderators. Let's see if we can find Copernicus somewhere. She Wolf, how are you doing? Deb Smith. Just a second. Something's beeping over here. I don't know what it is. I hope it's not. I don't know what it is. Something's beeping. Let me see if I can. No. I don't know if you all can hear that, ladies and gentlemen, but never mind. Let's see. Nostradamus, how you doing? Stuart's prepping. Let's see who else we have here. Okay, stand by, because something's beeping and we can't have this the rest of the day. Let's see. No. Okay. As soon as I stood up to see what it was, it stopped beeping. I think it was my dehumidifier. I have a dehumidifier in here because it gets pretty humid outside, and it filters its way in here because I like to have my windows open. So I turn on the dehumidifier, every once in a while. That way it doesn't get muggy in here. And I think maybe that's what was beeping. Happy Mac is in the house. How you doing, Happy Mac? Mitch J, how are you doing? Don Quest. Let's see who else do we have in here. Vicky, how are you? Lisa McCormick, hello. Linda Bopp is in the house. How are you doing? Good to see you. Nita Love. Nick Kitty DePaul, how are you? Diana 2 is here. Sparky's Run. Scott Hummer's in the house. How you doing, Scott? Good to see you. Gina Siska, how are you, Gina? Chelsea, how's that little girl of yours doing? Let us know. She's got to be about a year old already, right? If not just over a year old, right? Yeah, she's got to be just about a little over a year old by now. Let's see. Pauline, hello. Jeff Riffle, how are you doing? War is in the house. Let's see. Lisa Foster, how are you doing? Good to see you. Definitely P. Jeff Riffle, Gina. Mark Brimmer. Michael Eversberg, how you doing, Michael? Good to see you. Definitely P. I said you got a 2-for-1 today. Definitely P. Baby Root is here, though. Lisa, Lana, how are you? Common Sense Karen, I like that. Ray Kaplan, happy Friday to you. Dee's Crafts, Pat Butler. Butch Graves is here. Dragonfly Dreams, good to see you. Eric Arnaud, good to see you. Or Arnaud, I'm not sure if you pronounce it either way. Tammy, Jackie Perez, or Perez. Shanna Miller, Hidden Creek Gardens, Beth McMillan, all the way from Texas. 110 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious heat wave. I think you could probably see a little bit of a glisten on my forehead. We have a serious heat wave outside today. And you're not going to believe it because it's really hot outside. And it's hot inside too. Look at this. 83 degrees outside. And inside right now, it's 74 degrees in the bunker. This is way too hot. Way too hot. But I am trying to stay hydrated. Tony Taylor, how are you? Bab Z. Jeff Kozik's in the house. How you doing, Jeff? Eric Colorado Prepper Packrat is in the house. How you doing? Or Colorado Packrat Prepper. I'll never get that right. Good to see you. F. Peer, I just copied your information so I can put it on an envelope and mail you those 2 coins, all right? So I didn't forget about you. Oh, I did forget, but I was going through my emails and then I remembered. Let's see. Bug House Videos, how are you doing? Crystal Clear. Mother Clucker. Hey, let me remind you all real quick, just in case, if you're in the market for an Opus This is their last day of their Prime Day sales. They had a Prime Day sale for like 2 weeks in a row. And if you all remember that they had the Opus 1200, oh, this is, no, they had the Opus 1800 at an awesome price. So if you're in the market for a mid-size entry-level solar generator at an awesome price, go check it out. This is their last day. And like I said before, when I promoted them, those are the best prices I've ever seen them offer on any solar generator. So go check them out. You don't need to use a code or anything, all right? Just click the link that I provided. It should still be the same link under the description of the videos that I have, and it'll take you right to the sale page. And just go check out the prices. They are awesome prices, ladies and gentlemen. So go check them out, only if you're in the market for those. Let's see. Empress Jennifer, how you doing? Tom Larson, how are you? Good to see you. Stringfield Ridge, how you doing? Big Bad John is in the house. That's Evita is in the house. Evita, how are you? How you doing, JR? Let me not forget JR. If not, I get in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. And look at this. Jonaida Arias is in the house, too. Good to see you, Jonaida. The Parallel Sound, how are you? Janet, Gracious 48, how are you? 312 Chick. Don Quest, good evening to you. Amazing Grandma is here. Derek Gilbert is in the house. Say hello to Amber, Derek. Amber, I already know you're doing good, so I'm not going to say I hope you're doing good. I know you're doing well, so good for you. All right, good to see you, by the way, here. I'm assuming that if Derek is here, Amber, that you're right there next to him, all right? Nancy Floyd, Imini, RRB16BR, Whitney B. Let's see, Mother Clucker's here. Fatima Enriquez, how are you doing? Or Fatima Enriquez, Coffee Guy. John, how you doing, John, from McBean Scottish Fitness? Oops is in the house. Troll is in the house. Betty Randall. NC. Let me bring it on down, ladies and gentlemen. Let me bring it on down. K. Paul, how you doing? If I skip saying hello, if I miss saying hello to you, don't take it personally. It's that it's impossible for me to grab everyone. Wendy, how are you doing? Bell Prepper's in the house. Let me see. Emmanuel Bravo is in the house. Let's see. Beep, beep, beep. How you doing, YTU 685? Good to see you. Hey, Eric T, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. I hope the kids are doing well. And Eric T, let me remind you, and let me remind anyone that lives here in Fairbanks, all right? This is open to people that live here in Fairbanks only, all right? My condolences to everyone else. But let me give you the reason why I'm doing this. So during our Prime Day giveaway that we had, where we gave a whole bunch of good stuff away, I think you would agree. I realized that there's no one there from Alaska that won anything. So I was looking over the 7,500 or so solar generators that I have, and I am going to go ahead and practice Gresham's law. And Gresham's law is the law of that you get rid of something that is at the bottom of your totem pole. So I've got about 7,500 solar generators. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm exaggerating. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting rid of some of my solar generators that I reviewed maybe more than a year ago or 2 years ago, and ones that I don't use on a daily basis. All right. And so probably here within the next live stream, I'm going to go ahead and open an entry for people that live in Fairbanks or that can get here like within a day or so to pick up their solar generator. And I'm going to start giving away solar generators that I have that are just starting to sit around because I've got new ones to review and bigger ones. All right. So I'm going to start filtering through those and giving them away. All right. So that's going to go to people that live here in Fairbanks because you have to be here in order to pick it up from me or in order to meet up with me and get it. All right, so those of you that live in and around the Fairbanks area, I'm going to start doing some of those giveaways as well. Plus, I do have a couple of reviews where they're going to send me an additional solar generator so that I can give away to someone around here because I know that it can be very difficult to get a solar generator up here to Fairbanks. And if you find a company like, for example, Opus, they will ship to Fairbanks, but it costs you an additional $50 to have it shipped. And if you buy the Mega 5, the big boy right there, that monster, it costs you an extra $200 to get it shipped. So because of that, I decided to go ahead and give some away to our community here in Fairbanks. And for those of you, ladies and gentlemen, that are new here, right, you're going to realize very soon, if you stick with us for a while, that I can take a 1-minute message and turn it into a 15-minute message, all right? So bear with me. Let's see. Well, I will see Copernicus. I was seeing if I can see Copernicus, but I don't see her. So we're going to get started here pretty soon. Whitney B, how are you doing? I'm still trying to get it. All right, we're catching up. We're almost catching up here. Let's see. John Baxter is here all the way from Scotland. Well, welcome, John, all the way from Scotland. Lydian Cruz, how are you doing? Good to see you. Secret Squirrel is here. How you doing, Secret Squirrel? Well, look at this. Chelsea says that her little girl just turned 1 and is happy and healthy. That is awesome. Good for her. May she have many, many more. Indeed. Let's see. Okay, I'm bringing it down some. Hello to everyone that's saying hello. How you doing, Kevin? Good to see you. Let's see. Hello, hello. Ali Roo, how are you doing, Ali Roo? Good to see you. Suzanne E. Gaulet, how are you doing? Good to see you. Look at that. That is not right. So McBean is 85. And you're in Canada, right, McBean? Are you in Canada? And here is 83. No. We need to get this under control. We need to keep it at least under 70 here in Alaska, ladies and gentlemen. This is way too warm. Yeah, 52. Sue says it's going to be 52 overnight. And it gets around the 50s here as well in the evening time. It does. Well, look at this. Thank you, Genius by birth. Thank you very much. Happy Freedom Friday to you. Indeed. Southern Tier Prepper, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Francis Rudder. Thank you, Francis. It's 118 degrees in Yuma, Arizona. Incredible. That is crazy. It's this global warming, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the death of us. You better stop. You better stop driving those vehicles of yours, all right? Because it's because of you that it's 83 degrees up here in Alaska. It's not because it's the middle of summer, all right? So you better stop doing that. Hey, thank you very much, MG Monkey, for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Let's see. We've got Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. How you doing? Good to see you. Francis Butler, thank you very much for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. And let me tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, that if you join the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to get all of these perks. Pretty much you get to see videos that I'm going to put up sometimes a day in advance, sometimes a week in advance, all right? That's pretty much what you get for doing that. So it's not that big of a deal. That's why I don't have like a set, tier system of 1, 2, 3 tiers or anything like that. It's just you get to have a video ahead of time than everyone else. And there are some people that just like to watch those videos that are put up on the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. No, let me put this a different way. The Patreon, the people that I have on Patreon, some of them are only on Patreon. I was confusing with the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Some of them are only on Patreon and they don't go on YouTube. So that's what Patreon is there for also. Because I had some people ask me a long time ago saying, hey, we don't want to stay on YouTube, but we want to continue to watch your videos. So they went on Patreon and that's the only place that they watch them. But that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Okay, we really need to bring this down. Where are we at? You know what? Why am I in such a rush? I don't have anywhere to go. I am very busy though. Very busy. How are you all liking this time? 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know how you're liking this time. See if it's better for everyone. I have no problem with changing the time up a little bit every once in a while so that we can have more of you come on over here and hang out with everyone else. I have seen some new names that I haven't noticed in the past. So if this time is better for everyone or most everyone collectively, then yeah, we can change it. How you doing, David Jones? Good to see you, my friend. Rambo, Saved by Grace. How you doing? Michelle Diaz, how are you doing? Oh, Copernicus is in the house. Copernicus. Well, Emmanuel, if when I do those giveaways for the generators for people that live in and around Fairbanks, if you win and you want your daughter to collect it, I have no problem with that. No problem with that. But they have to be able to come and meet me here, like I would say within a week from the day that they won. All right. So if you win, then your daughter would have to come up here within a week to collect it. And then that's it. Because I'm not going to be holding on to it for months. All right. I'm trying to give them away so people can use them and such. All right. So yeah, absolutely. You can do that. Big John all the way from Kentucky. How you doing? YTU asked, do you have to give a dehydrator a break sometimes for the motor and the fan? I would say no. I would say that you should be able to work that thing nonstop. I mean, eventually the motor for the fan, it will give out eventually because it's a mechanical item. And anything that's a mechanical item will eventually give out. All right. When? Who knows? But no, you should be able to use that thing as much as you want straight through without giving it a break ever. Right. And it should still run. And the reason I say that is because I have a motorized fan that keeps the condensation in my attic from building up during the wintertime. And here are winters. And what I mean by winter is when the temperatures dip below freezing and stay below freezing all 24 hours. All right. So your high is below 32 degrees and your low is below 32 degrees all the way through 24 hours. That's what I consider winter. So here, our winter is about 7 months, roughly 7 months long, where we have freezing temperatures all the time. And I have that motor, that fan working the entire time without giving it a break. And it's already lasted, 7, 8 years? No problem whatsoever. I have a backup, but the original one is still working just fine. Let's see. Kitsy Witsy, how are you doing? My hubby says hello. His birthday is on Sunday. Oh, well, happy birthday 3 days ahead of time. 2 days ahead of time. Happy birthday to your hubby, Kitsy. That's awesome. May the good Lord bless him with many more. And we know for sure now that Sunday is going to be a good day. So happy birthday ahead of time. Man, I have a lot to talk about. No, Karina, no, I'm not gonna be doing that. I won't sell like those solar generators that I'm giving away. I won't sell them or auction them or raffle them or anything like that. I won't do that because I received those for free, and so I'm just gonna give them away. I'm gonna pay them forward. And with the food bank, as I stated in the past, the good Lord will see to it that I can donate to the food bank without me having to collect any money from anyone, and from me not having to do anything extra. Whatever I earn here from YouTube, I will be able to get the food bank taken care of for November. It's going to be a big challenge because this year is going to be very, very costly, very expensive. But it's like I stated before, if God wants me to do it, he's going to allow me to do it. If he doesn't, then he won't. But if he wants me, he'll allow me to do it. So I'm not worried about it. I think we'll be able to take care of the food bank. YouTube revenue is like really way down. For people that make a living on YouTube this year, unless they're just killing it, because there are some channels that are just killing it, man. I mean, they're like on fire. This channel's not one of them. But for people that make a living on YouTube, man, I really hope that they had their ducks in order this year, right? Because this year revenue really went down a lot. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I've always stated that if you make a living on YouTube, you should not be dependent on income from YouTube. And if you are, that you should definitely have a little side pot of money put aside for those days or months when YouTube revenue really comes down because of ad or whatever it may be. All right. But anyways, if it was meant to be, it'll be. So let's see. Hey, Heath, how are you doing? Good to see you. It was 97 for a low in Phoenix last night. Man, those cow farts are just all over Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, Heath. Oh, that's terrible. Hey, Queen Nee, how are you? All right. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold off a little bit on any questions or anything that you want to share with the community. All right. So I can go over what I want to talk about, and I'm going to see after the live stream or maybe tomorrow morning, I can go and maybe pull some, pull some chapters off of what I talk about. That way people can watch it instead of having to sit through 20 minutes of salutations before we get to the main topic. All right. First, let me say thank you very much, ABC Patriot. It's good to see you. Uh, he's ABC Patriot says Rudy is causing global warming with all of the meat he's eating. Hey, you know what? Here you go. You see ABC Patriot. You see what you did. Now you're gonna get me all court. Man, I have great news, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't even done another video for a while about reversing diabetes with ketovore, but I have really good news. My next blood draw is next week. So next week I get my next blood draw for my next doctor appointment, which is the week after. And right now I've been checking my blood glucose manually, you know, with the little lancet and the little machine that you put all that kind of stuff, right? I've been checking it manually, and I just took a look at my average for the last 30 days, for the last 2 weeks, and for the last week. And for the last 30 days, my average glucose was 99, which is really good compared to where I started 7 months ago. It was 217. And then for the last 2 weeks, the average was 98, so 1 point lower. And then I just checked for the last week, the last 7 days was 96. And I started eating a little bit, just a tiny bit of vegetables, like maybe 3 days a week. So what I think I'm going to start doing, since my average glucose has gone down so much, and it's really in the normal range right now. It's in the like higher limit of the normal range, but it's still in the normal range right now, is that after I get my new A1C score or rating, if it's like in the normal range, if it's like below 6, I would say, if it's like 5.6, 5.5, something like that, what I'll start doing is like maybe 3 days a week, let's say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, let's say, instead of doing carnivore, where all I eat is meat and animal products, right? With no carbohydrates at all. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll do ketovore, where I will restrict myself to eating no more than 20 to 30 total grams of carbohydrates that are gotten from like vegetables and things like that are supposed to be healthy for you, right? So that's what I'm going to start doing, so that I can enjoy some of those things, because believe it or not, I love vegetables, I love lettuce, I love salads, but that's something that I've stayed away from strictly, all right, because I wanted to bring my blood sugar down. I think it's more important to have your blood sugar normal than to be enjoying the things that you like to eat, at least, especially when you're getting a little bit up there in age, like we half centurions are. So that's my good news for this live stream. I'm actually looking forward to going to the doctor in a couple of weeks to check what my new A1C score is. We'll have to see what happens, but very, very happy with the progress that has been made with my diabetes here in the last several months. Okay, bringing it down. And okay, now I mean it. If you have anything, just save it for a little bit until I get done my spiel. But I know that I have to say thank you very much to Ed for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. And thank you very much to you, Tammy, for the super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your support, ladies and gentlemen. And now let's talk what I want to talk about. All right. And wait a minute. Disabled and prepping. I'm going to go ahead and star your comment. All right. Oh, that's a great question. Disabled and prepping. That's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and put a star next to it, which saves it so that I can make sure I don't lose it. Okay. So I will cover that here in a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. I'm going to take out my notes. You're not going to see them, but I'm going to take out my notes. So why is it that I think that something big is about to happen? I don't know what it is, ladies and gentlemen, that may be about to happen, but I mean something that's going to make the history books, something that will be written about in the future. And I mean something here within the United States of America, or it can also be global. I don't know, but it's going to be something that's going to take everyone's energy away from what's going on now and from what's being exposed now, and put their energy and their minds on that something else. This is why I think that something big is going to happen. We have to be prepared, right, for anything, right? Be prepared for anything. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about the, I forgot the name of the pharmaceutical company that caught on fire? And now they're saying, Pfizer, right? They caught on fire. Now they're saying that there's going to be shortages and delays in the manufacturing of a lot of prescription medications. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about this a lot, and I get a lot of heat from this. Oh, you're only promoting, Contingency Medical or Jace Medical because you're a partner with them or you're affiliated with them. No, look at what's happening with them now. Now they're out there saying, hey, there's going to be shortages of a whole bunch of prescription medications. So, and I'm not even affiliated with Jace Medical, and they offer you a 12-month prescription of whatever prescription medication you take. I don't know how much it costs. I'm assuming it may be pricey depending on what medication it is. But if a medication that you take that falls in the list of those that are not going to be available now or are going to be in real big shortage, well, you could have had that taken care of, and maybe you still can, all right, by checking that out. If you want to go check out Jace Medical, go to Frontier Prepper, all right? Go to Frontier Prepper. If one of my mod can leave their link on there, go to Frontier Prepper, go to any of their videos, go down to the description, and they are affiliated with Jace Medical. And you can go get a 12-month supply or a 6-month supply of prescription medication that you take so that you can have it and rotate through it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't gotten your antibiotics, I am partnered with Contingency Medical, and I like Contingency Medical. Go get your antibiotics there. And there's a coupon code also, so you can save like $10 off of your antibiotic. But it's not even to save the $10. It's everyone should have antibiotics in their home, and everyone should have an RO system, reverse osmosis filtration system, and everyone should have a small generator, a gasoline generator, before you get a solar generator. First, ladies and gentlemen, everyone ought to have these things just as much as you ought to have your year supply of food, self-defense, etc. Right? So we need to get prepared and stay prepared, and expect something to happen that's going to force us to use our preps. All right. And this is why. Look at all of the misdeeds. All right. All of the misdeeds of those that think they rule us, how they're coming out in the open now. So I'm thinking to myself, it's like every day something new is coming out. Every day you're like, oh my goodness, so-and-so released this paper showing and proving that, this administration has been bribed by all of these countries and stuff. So I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff here. And the reason I wrote it down is because I'm not very good at retaining my thoughts. So I have to write them down. So you're going to see me reading them off to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So number one, all right, this is why you need to get prepared, because something big is going to happen because of this stuff that's being put out in the open now. The crime syndicate that lives in the White House, all of their crimes are coming to light, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a look at all of these congressional hearings that they're having, and all of these crimes that have been committed by the people that live there, by that family in the last decade or so, coming out undisputable. Personally, I don't think that anyone's going to get charged or put in jail, right? But they have to get the eyes of the people, of we the people, away from that. They have to get our eyes on something else. They need to scare us with something else or have us worried about something else, because everything that's coming out is now provable, right? Crimes against children are coming out, and not only coming out in movies, but also with whistleblowers. So that movie that's come out that everyone's talking about that I can't watch because I have a very big weakness, which is that I cannot see children get hurt. Right. So I can't see that movie. I won't see it. I can't do it. All right. And those crimes are coming out not only in movies, but whistleblowers. And a lot of the people that are behind those crimes, that are committing those crimes, they are people in government. They are people in high places within corporations. They are people in high places within our federal system of justice. All right. Be it federal judges or like the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, places like that. What I mean is that a lot of very high level people are going to be put out there and shown to be what they really are. All right. And the only way that these people can save themselves, ladies and gentlemen, is to create a distraction, a black flag event, or something that that will keep our eyes away from their crimes, because everything is coming out. What is it? Is it the awakening, right? The reveal. Everything is being revealed, is being put out there for people to see, plain and simple. No matter how dumb you are, or no matter how gullible you have been for these last several years or decades, you are now going to be able to see the things that are coming out with your eyes. And it's being put out there so simply for you to see that there's no way you can say, no, this isn't happening. You can only say, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. A lot of us can, but I'm sure that most people won't be able to believe that this is actually happening, because they've been living their lives of normalcy for so many years. Okay, so how the US is no longer respected, ladies and gentlemen, is no longer respected the way that it once was. Look at how weak Janet Yellen looked when she went to China last week and bowed down like 5 or 6 times. And she was pretty much being laughed at. And she's representing we the people, the United States of America. Look at how other countries are persuading each other to get out of the dollar, right? There used to be a time when no head of state anywhere in the world would dare to speak of dethroning the dollar as the choice currency for trade. Now they speak it openly. I mean, Zimbabwe said, nope, we're using a gold backed currency. Kenya said, hey, my brothers and sisters in the continent of Africa, we can trade amongst each other. Why do we need the dollar? And Kenya is a small country that I believe just collapsed, as a matter of fact. To tell you, I think maybe 1 or 2 days ago, Kenya might have, the government, I think, collapsed. But even that small country is coming out in the open and saying, hey, we don't need the dollar. 20 years ago, ain't no way any small country would do that. Well, actually, yes, a few small countries did do that. One big one. One of those small countries was Libya, and look at what happened there. Another one of those countries was Iraq, and look at what happened there. They were going to get away from the dollar, but they didn't get away from the dollar, ladies and gentlemen, and ask yourselves why. All right. The truth is coming out about the cost of all of the excess deaths that are occurring all over the world. Have you heard about all of these excess deaths and the interviews that have been taking place with coroners, with the people that prepare the bodies for burial? Have you been hearing about these, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the truth is coming out, right? And when the people come out of their state of cognitive dissonance, they are going to be very angry that they were coerced into doing things that they otherwise would have never done. And these are some of the reasons why something big has to happen, because everything that is being exposed as showing that the state, which is supposed to represent we the people, represents themselves and only for their own interests, not ours. Our oil reserves, ladies and gentlemen, are the lowest that they've been in like the last 40 or 50 years, right along with our ammunition reserves. Right now, our ammunition stocks are so low, ladies and gentlemen, that we couldn't even defend ourselves if we got attacked from outside our borders. So if our nation got attacked from an outside force, we wouldn't be able to defend ourselves with those munitions that we've been sending away to other countries. Now, do I think that we would be intentionally attacked by another country? Not with boots on ground. Not with boots on ground, because there's so many privately owned firearms in the United States of America, and there are many people that are willing to use them to protect their homeland. So I don't think that will happen. But still, just the fact that we have the lowest ammunition reserves that we've had, and I don't know how long, probably forever, because we're giving it away to other countries so that they can defend their borders while we allow our borders to stay porous, is pretty asinine, in my opinion. And people are waking up to that. They are getting tired of our government taking care of others while forsaking us, we the people. Let me see. This is number 7. This is the last one that I have to go over with you. Our southern border is no more, as we have a flood of illegal immigrants coming in without getting checked. Right? Not only are they not getting checked for a background check, ladies and gentlemen, but who knows what is getting through, right? We can expect some of them to be getting through with illnesses, right? With sicknesses, right? That may start the next health crisis, and or some or many to get through who are crossing over explicitly to do harm to this nation via sabotage of our infrastructure or to conduct T-word, you know that T-word that they don't like you to use on YouTube? T-word operations. Think of all of the things that they could damage. Number 1, the water supply, the food supply, electrical grid, communications, nuclear, biological, and the list goes on. And all of this just because we have a ruling class that forgot what it was that they signed up for. And that was to serve the people and to preserve our way of life and the freedoms that our forefathers died for. But instead, they, the ruling class, have enriched themselves at our expense of the, I missed this. Let me see. But instead, they, the ruling class have enriched themselves at the expense of the very constituents that voted them into office and forsaken not only their country, but the next generations that have yet to come. And this is why there has to be a big event that forces them to bring into reality what they've dreamed about for decades. And that is the Great Reset, ladies and gentlemen, where you will not be happy. No matter what they tell you, you will not be happy, and you will own absolutely nothing, not even your labor. So you have to prepare. Well, this sounds hopeless, AP. Everything that you just said sounds hopeless. It's bad, really bad, but not hopeless. In the end, God will allow good to win over evil. Good will always prevail over evil. We are going through a transition of the fourth turning into a new paradigm, ladies and gentlemen. But between now and spring, what happens? We have to be prepared so that we can make it through the hard times. That's what we're doing. We're going through a season of the human experience. But without being prepared, you may make it, but you will have to suffer a lot before you get to that other side. And that is why I say that now is the time. Everything that I just talked about, now is the time that we have to be alert. All right. We have to keep our head on a swivel because something big has to happen in order for all of these things that I just talked about. And I'm sure there's more and more things that I haven't even talked about, right? That we have our eyes on now, and they don't want our eyes on those things that they know they've done. They've played a great job at projection, but no more. The people are now waking up. So something has to happen to take our eyes away from what's happening in real life. Something has to happen for them to scare the population so that they can control the population just like they did a few years back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so prepare and stay prepared because that's the only way that we can win is if we stay prepared. There's no war that's ever been won by a population that was not prepared. No war, ladies and gentlemen. And what we are going through right now is a war. We are fighting a war of good versus evil, right? And I'm talking about a real war of good versus evil, ladies and gentlemen, right? And they want nothing more than for us to be enslaved to them for the rest of our lives, right? And in a way, we kind of are. I mean, this right here, this is a tool of enslavement. You know, what's the best way to enslave a population is to make them think that they're not slaves. So you may ask yourself, hey, I go and I earn this and I get to take it and spend it. Well, this right here is an enslavement tool. But you think it's not because you get to spend it where you want when you really don't get to spend it where you want. And when the hours that it took you to earn this are stripped from you via the tool that they use called inflation. These are the things that we need to start teaching our children so that they can teach their children, so that they one day will not find themselves in the same predicament that we find ourselves today, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no sense in putting any blame on anyone. We can say, oh, it's the boomers' fault. They kept voting themselves in, freebies. Oh, we can say it's our fault. The X generation is our fault because we didn't fix it. Who cares anymore? It doesn't matter whose fault it was. We are where we are. But if we fix it from now on and we make sure that we teach our history to the future generations, then hopefully it will stick and they won't do the same thing again. And maybe our country will have another 250 years before it loses its status as the best nation that ever existed on this planet, at least during this period of our civilization. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to that question. But first, let me say thank you to Brenda. How you doing, Brenda? I'm going to have a drawing and give something away to anybody not in the Fairbanks area. Brenda, go ahead. You can have a drawing, and then you can send it to whoever wins. Oh, goodness. Let me see. I thought I saw a gray man prepping, but we're not giving any silver away today, so he wouldn't be here. Let's see. I'm going to bring it to the bottom really quick. Kim, you received your RO system. Awesome. Go get your RO systems, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone in the country ought to have an RO system, a reverse osmosis system. I don't care if you get it from Simpure or not, but you should have one installed and in use. You cannot trust the water, no matter where you get it from, even if you get it from a well. You can't trust it. Oh, here's Brenda again. Brenda, Tennessee is talking about creating a gold-backed state currency and separating from U.S. currency. I have ammo. How much they need? Awesome. I've said this a long time ago, and I've said it more than once, that our freedom, ladies and gentlemen, is really dependent upon the state's leadership. All right. That's why I've always been an advocate of states not taking any money, just telling the federal government, no, we don't want your money. No, we're not taking your money. No, don't give us money for school. I would be so happy to pay more taxes here where I live, which I think taxes here are pretty high already, but I would be so happy to pay more taxes if the state said, we're not taking any more money from the federal government. We're going to have to do it ourselves here in Alaska. We're going to have to do it ourselves. I would have no problem doing that, ladies and gentlemen, because it would mean that we would be freed from the claws of the federal government, which is not supposed to be over the states. It's the states that are supposed to be over the federal government. All right. But too many states in the United States are dependent upon the federal government. And that is the moral hazard of what is wealth redistribution, ladies and gentlemen. That is the moral hazard of what is wealth redistribution. Why do I say that that's a moral hazard? Because once you get hooked on that teat, if you're a state, and the same thing with individuals, once you get hooked on that teat of money coming in that you didn't have to earn because another state ended up funding that for you because you're a taker state instead of a giver state, then it's hard to get off of it. And you make up any excuse to say, hey, we're doing the right thing. It's for the children. When in fact, you're not, because the freedoms that you're giving up by taking that money is going to directly affect the lives of those children when they turn into adults. So I would say stop funding everything. Stop taking money from any federal government organization, and we can do it on our own. Because once they realize that we don't need them, then their loss will be a moot point. And why do I say that, ladies and gentlemen? Am I saying because I think we should have a nation that has no rule of law? No, not at all. But because the government itself does not follow the rule of law. But they expect everyone else to follow the rule of law that they impose on us via the 300,000 plus federal, state, and county or regulations or laws that are on the books in the United States of America. 300,000 plus, ladies and gentlemen, right? We have to follow them. But how many of them do you think follow them? I mean, just take a look at the news. JP Morgan just paid another $900 or something million fine for something for creating fake accounts, something that Wells Fargo got fined for a few years ago. These people will never go to jail. They'll make $10 billion with some kind of fraud, and then they'll get $1 billion in fine. And that $1 billion in fine is just the cost of doing business. But they still get to keep the other $9 billion. You know, at least that's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. That's my opinion, right? I have to say that because I'm on the internet. Let's see. Good Eats Homestead. Thank you very much, Good Eats Homestead. Thank you for that. And thank you all for standing by my rants. All right. Let's see. Let's bring it down some. I do have a question that I have to get back to, but let me bring it down some. Let's see here. John, how you doing, John? Good to see you. Is a 2,000 watt hour a good size? It is a good size. I would listen. I have a video coming out that, man, it took me forever to do, and especially forever to edit. I'm gonna get back to your question, John, but let me say that I got a video coming out. It's a long video. It's like 28, 29 minutes long. But what I did was I used a solar generator system that I had reviewed in the past, along with solar panels, to power all of the necessities in our house. So, for example, let's say we had a grid down here, and the grid wasn't coming back up for a long time. I wanted to see how long could I actually use this solar generator with solar panels to power everything that I need in my house in order to operate my house efficiently during a grid down situation, and how long would it last before I finally ran out of enough juice to power my house because there wasn't sun or for whatever reason. All right, so I did that and it actually worked out really well. But then I also did another experiment on that video where I powered my house with the same solar generator, but without solar, just by recharging the solar generator with a small gasoline generator. And some people may say, well, that's counterproductive, but no, it's not, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually pretty inexpensive to power your house. The things that you need that are critical to your life during a grid down scenario is pretty inexpensive to power that by powering your solar generator using a gas generator. So that, so that video should be coming out in the next 2 or 3 days or so. And check it out because it took me a long time to do it. It took me forever to edit it because I had hours and hours and hours of footage, but I had to compress it down to like 25, 30 minutes. But yeah, very interesting. So going back to John's question, is a 2,000 watt hour a good size solar generator to start with? I think it is, depending on what you want to power. So for example, let's say that you just want to power your refrigerator, your freezer, your lights, right? And maybe your laptop, your phone, stuff like that. That is a great size, with the exception of, do you have some solar panels to power it? All right, so that you can continue to power your stuff if you have a multiple day or multiple week grid down situation, or do you have a small gasoline generator that you can power that unit with as well? Okay, so yes, it's good, but it really all depends on what you need to power with it. I often say that we're all different, so we have to see what we need to power and then match the solar generator that's going to be able to provide you the power that you need. All right. So, but yes, in general, I would say that a 2,000 watt hour solar generator is a really, really good entry level solar generator as far as size goes. No, you do not. Suladin asks, do you have to use the solar panels that are produced by the same company for the solar generator? So for example, if you buy an Opus, you don't have to use Opus solar panels, okay? Opus has an 8mm port for your input. So all you would have to do is get on Amazon, buy an 8mm to an MC4 connector so that you can go ahead and hook up your MC4 solar panels right up to your Opus solar generator. Too easy. And they sell them because I bought a few. All right, so that's too easy, but you don't have to do that. But not even with just the Opus. If you have something that's different, maybe you have a solar generator that takes an input connector that's an Anderson connector. Same thing. You get your Anderson connector with your MC4 connectors, and then you can put it on whatever solar panel you want that takes MC4. It's very simple. You don't have to use the same brand solar panels. Yes, it does, Lucinda. Reverse osmosis systems remove forever chemicals as well. And that's something that I actually confirmed with Simpure, right? Let's see. Hey, Passionate Herbs, how are you doing? Better late than never. Let me go ahead and get to, let me see. Disable and Prepping had a really good question here. And it is, what do you think is the minimum amount of silver a person should have? Well, it's different with everyone, but I'm going to tell you what I think it should be for myself. So if you take a look at Venezuela, in Venezuela, and this is research that I did close to a year ago. So if it's a little different now, then it may be a little different, but it probably isn't that much of a difference now. So in Venezuela, when I did that research, 1 ounce of silver would get a family of 5, I believe it was. It was either 4 or 5 days worth of food. And what I mean by 5 days worth of food is not rice and beans. It's like 5 days worth of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the things that make up breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so like bacon, eggs, some kind of a starch, meat, fish, and things like that. Coffee, orange juice, milk, right? And it would get a family of, I think it was 5 days worth of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 1 ounce of silver. That tells me that an ounce of silver will get a family through pretty much for a full day on everything they need. Not just breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but maybe a little bit of gasoline to put in your vehicle. Maybe like a gallon of gasoline. Your average vehicle gives about 20 miles to the gallon. So a little bit of gasoline to put in your vehicle and whatever other small expenses you have throughout the day to get you through. So I would say that about 1 ounce of silver per day will get you through. And then you just have to decide on how many days you want to be prepared for. Right. So in my example, I would rather use 2 ounces of silver per day because that allows you to have a little bit of extra for emergencies, right? Besides the emergency that you're going through where you have to use your silver. So that's what I would say is a good amount of silver to put away. At a minimum, 1 ounce of silver per day. But then, of course, I've never advocated that you get silver and precious metals before you've gotten all your other preps, right? Silver and precious metals, in my opinion, are not necessarily for SHTF. They're so that you can pick back up after the dust settles, right? For a SHTF scenario or a major crisis scenario, you want to have your preps, right? You want to have your food, you want to have your water, you want to have your medical stuff, you want to have your self-defense, you want to have your barter items, which is more of what you already have anyways. You want to have all of those things first, and then any excess wealth that you may have that you don't need for prepping and that you don't need at all, you can save in the form of precious metals if that's what you want to do. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Okay, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua. Just got my BP medicine from my blood pressure medicine. Awesome. I'm very happy that you got that, man. That is so awesome. Good for you. Now, that is a prep, ladies and gentlemen, that really needs to be priority on your list of preps if you don't have your medicine already, especially if you need that medicine in order to stay healthy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's something that you definitely have to look into. Okay, let's see. I'm bringing it down. Hey, Salty Dog, how are you doing, man? Kenneth Kish, how much bread flour should we stock up on? Well, it depends on how much bread you make, right? So just figure out how much flour. It's usually about 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. I haven't made bread in a long time, but usually around 3.5 to 4 cups maybe of flour to make a nice 2-pound loaf of bread, right? So if you're going to go through a 2-pound loaf of bread every day, then go ahead and do your math on how much flour you need to get a loaf of bread every day, right? Depending on the size of your family and how much bread you all eat. Right? So that's so much flour, and then just add some extra in there because it'd be nice to have a little bit of extra to barter. Okay, so depending on how many days you want to get prepared for, let's say it's just 30 days, and you're going to make a 2-pound loaf of bread every day. So maybe a 50-pound bag of flour that you're always rotating, or maybe 100 pounds of flour that you're always rotating, and you know that you'll always have at least enough flour for a month, right? Me personally, I wouldn't mind keeping enough flour on hand rotating for about a month or two. But then instead of storing flour for long term, I would store wheat berries and make sure that I have a manual grinder, right? Because wheat berries, for those of you that may not know, is I'm going to call it a fruit or a grain. It's the grain that is used to make flour when you grind it. Okay. I think that makes sense. Let's see. Keisha Wagner asked, hello, Keisha. How long will solar panels last? Well, I can tell you that my oldest solar panels are now about, I don't know, 9 years old. I had them before I even moved here, and I'm still using them. Actually, I'm using them right now. I'm charging a smaller solar generator with it that I was using for a fan somewhere in the house, and it's working just fine. And they're actually still working like really good, meaning that it's a 100-watt solar panel, and I was getting like 85 watts out of it. And, you know, I'm not sure for those of you that don't understand, but if you have a 100-watt solar panel, it doesn't mean you're going to get 100 watts out of it. But if you get like 85 watts or more, I think that's really, really good to have 85% efficiency on a 100-watt solar panel, especially one that wasn't very expensive. I think I remember paying like $79 for that Neopo or something like that. I forget the name of it. But yeah, they should last. The ones that I have are about 8 years old. They're still working just fine. But the number that I've heard a lot is that they last at least a good 25 years. All right. And that's if they're like, if they are, you know, rain resistant or water resistant or waterproof, you know, that you can leave them outside. I leave all of my solar panels outside that I use actively during the winter, and they've been fine the whole time that I've owned them. Oh, great question, Jennifer. Well, Jennifer, the reason that I say that you should start out with a gasoline generator first before you get a solar generator is because a solar generator is dependent on the sun. So if for some reason you're not going to get any, if for some reason something happens where you don't have any electricity and you're depending on your solar generator, right? And there's something that happens. Let's say a volcano erupts, right, halfway across the world, and it shoots up a plume of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere, and it blocks the sunlight for the next 6 months. It's happened before. Tambora, I think it was, I forget what year it was, 1500 and something. I forget what year it was. Don't quote me. But it's happened before, and we got a year without a summer because there's not enough sun coming through to produce, photosynthesis in plants. Well, the same thing would be happening with a solar generator. You're not going to get enough sunlight to power that solar generator. What if something like that happens? What if something out of your control happens where you have cloud cover for the next 30 days? Where are you going to get sunlight to power your solar generator? Well, with a gas generator, you can actually very efficiently power your solar generator with a gas generator, especially if you have one that's fast charging. Like this right here, the Mega 5, the Opus Mega 5. That thing is a whopping 5,000 and I think it's 40. Yes, 5,040 watt hours. All right. But it charges super fast. It charges 2,400 watt hours per hour, right? 2,400 watts per hour, which means that if you hook this up to a gasoline generator, you can have it charged in about 2.5 hours. So you can have it charged in about 2.5 hours, but it's going to last you in the house for about 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, depending on what you have hooked up to it. Let's say you only have a refrigerator, a freezer, and your lights and just your basic things onto it. That thing will last you 4 or 5 days, which means that you just spent about enough gasoline on a regular generator to power your house for like 4 or 5 days with your solar generator. But if you were doing that with just a gasoline generator, then it would cost you a lot more gasoline to do that with just a gasoline generator. But with a gasoline generator, you always have control about how much gasoline you have, right? So it doesn't matter if there's no sun. It doesn't matter. You have control over how much gasoline you put away, right? And the best case scenario is to have a gasoline generator or a propane generator, one that uses gas, because you can control how much gas you put away, and also have a solar generator, right? That's why I say they complement each other, right? The video that I've got coming up on using a gas generator and a solar generator, that video will explain to you and show you, hey, this is a great combination to have one of each. But if I were to only have one, if I could only choose one, I would pick a gas generator. And you all know, ladies and gentlemen, that I love solar generators. I really do. But if I honestly could only choose one, I would pick a gas generator, and I would make sure that it's a dual fuel gas generator, one that takes gasoline and or propane. All right, that's what I would do, because you can control how much fuel you store away. You cannot control the sun. You cannot control the clouds. You cannot control volcanoes. Okay, Sarita loves living. How you doing? Good to see you. Man, I'm getting sweaty. Look at this. What is it? 79 degrees in here. I don't want to turn on the I got an air conditioner with that dehumidifier, which I rarely use, but I think I'm going to have to need to turn it on today. But I don't want to make too much noise. I do not understand this question, Kathleen. I'm not ignoring you. What's a good cart for a medium-sized harvest right? Oh, like a good cart that you can push it around? I had mine in a shelf unit. Is where I had mine. Okay. And it was one of those cheap shelf units too, the ones that have the particle board. Okay, let's bring it down. Psalm 91 says, is it possible that the government will confiscate all silver and gold again? The government can do whatever they want, but really the government can only do what we the people allow them to do. And being that the fact is that only about 1, maybe 2% of people in the United States, and I'm being generous when I say 1 or 2% of people in the United States are actively stacking silver and gold, then they would probably want to do that. but not at the level, not at the personal level, but at the national level, meaning that they may take over mines, silver and gold mines, or places that store a lot of silver and gold bullion and stuff like that. I don't think that they would risk the PR, the projection that it makes upon the government to be sending stormtroopers to take my 20 ounces of silver that I've been collecting for the last 6 months per se. Right? I don't think that they'll do that because a lot of people will resist, and for them to go and try to, knock down doors for 1% of the population, which it may not sound like a lot, but that's about 3.5 million people, right? 1% of the population. It would make a lot of news coverage. It's probably just a lot easier for them to say, hey, all of the gold and silver mines in the US, they now belong to the United States government, right? Why? National security. It's what they always use, right, ladies and gentlemen? All of the gold depositories and such, now they belong to the government. But that will be up to the states. It's like I said, it's really up to the state leadership how much they let the federal government get away with, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that is up to the state. But the government can do whatever they want. I mean, take a look around, ladies and gentlemen. The government does whatever the hell they want. Who gets in trouble? Whoever goes to jail. Look at all these people from the past that have committed all these crimes. Who goes to jail, ladies and gentlemen? No one goes to jail. The real sovereign, you know how people say, hey, I'm a sovereign citizen, right? The real sovereign are those that serve in government because they don't have to adhere by the law. And they don't. We the plebes, we're not sovereign at all. We are owned by these people. At least that's the way they see it. All right? That's the way they see it. They see themselves as the real sovereigns, but not us. Like Ayn Rand said, on one of her quotes in one of her books, when the government writes laws to protect itself from the people, instead of writing laws to protect the people from government, then society is lost. Well, take a look around. I'm not saying that it's hopeless because it never is, because every generation or every 2 or 3 or 4 generations has to go through a reckoning that we are going through, just like we are going through now. It's just part of the human condition, right? We refuse to learn as a species. We refuse to learn from the past and push that information forward to the next generations. So we always end up paying the price. And all you have to do is just look at history. And it plays itself out all the time. Why is it that a nation, the average age of a nation is about 250 years? Average, right? You have some that have lasted a little longer, some that have lasted a little less, but the average is about 250 years, right? It's about 10 generations, roughly. We refuse to, push through our learnings. Elo Talks, how are you? What do you think the fall will bring with the BRICS? Well, I've heard some people say, and now listen, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just telling you all what I think. But I've heard some people say that, yeah, the gold-backed BRICS, even if there is a gold-backed BRICS, I'm not sure that that's 100% until they actually do it, right? You can hear it, and you can hear people say it all you want, right? But until they actually do it, we don't know if that's what they're going to do. But let's say that the BRICS currency that they're coming out with, let's say it is gold backed. It's not the end of the dollar. And that's what many people don't understand. They're saying, oh, it's going to be the end of the dollar, the end of the Federal Reserve note, the end of the world reserve currency. It's not going to be the end, ladies and gentlemen. What it will mean is this, is that the dollar will still exist, but how much value will it retain, right? Because if you have a block of nations, right now, I think it's like 41 nations or so that are steadfast in joining in with this new currency to trade with each other. That 41 nations constitutes about half of the world population. So that means that it constitutes about half of the world resources. So what does that mean to the dollar? To me, it doesn't mean that it's going to go away, that it's going to disappear, that it's going to crash. It means to me that it's going to lose value more and more rapidly than what it has been losing value for the last, 100 years or so. So the plan of our want to be rulers is to bring down the standard of living of we who live in Western nations. So if you live in a Western nation in a so-called first world country, the plan is to bring down your standard of living to match that of the standard of living of all of the other emerging nations in the world, which means that your standard of living is supposed to come down between 50 and 75% than where it currently is, right? So what's one way to do that? Well, bring down the value of the currency in which we interact mainly with, which is the dollar. And that currency, who cares if it's called a reserve currency of the world when it's worth, whatever it's worth. It can be worth half of what it's worth now. Does it really matter what it's called? Does it matter if people say that the dollar is the world reserve currency when you can only buy 1/3 of what you could buy today, a couple of years from now? No, that's what I think is going to happen, is that the dollar will fall at a faster rate, fall in value. Not that it will necessarily lose a title. At least that's just my opinion, but really anything can happen. Okay, bringing it down. What time is it? Well, we're just a little over an hour, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, can you do me a favor? If you like this time on Friday, 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, if you like me doing my live streams at this time on Fridays, go ahead and give me a number 1. If you don't like it, give me a number 2. Let's see what the consensus is, and maybe we'll try to switch it a little bit. Or maybe every other Friday I'll do one at 2 and do one at 4, right? Because I really enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, that I really enjoy answering questions. Why? Because it keeps me, it keeps me sharp. It keeps my mind sharp. But more importantly, because the person that asked it is not only helping them, but maybe helping a lot of people that would not ask that question, right? And it also teaches me, because sometimes there's a question that I don't know the answer to. Someone will answer it, or I go research it and I learn the answer to it. So it's like a good thing all the way around. Brenda Barwin, thank you, Brenda. I've been telling you from day one, solar with a mini wind turbine backup, easy switch. Yes, a mini wind turbine is an excellent idea. I actually have a mini wind turbine that I haven't put up. I've had it for like a couple of years. That's something that I need to do. Yep. That's actually a great idea, Brenda. Hey, Tonette, how you doing? Say hello to the hubby. I just noticed you, Tonette. Good to see you. Kidzi says the Biden administration is trying to outlaw gas-powered generators and gas stoves. We need to stop this. They are complying with ESG, ESG, NWO. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about ESG. Our governments have been taken over by the UN via their SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. And the problem with that is I'm not sure how many here have seen the video that I put up on why this is all just bull butter. And it's this, ladies and gentlemen, for the last couple of decades or so, they've been extracting humanity with money. They've been extracting money away from humanity, meaning that they've been taxing humanity more. It's been costing humanity more of their hours, more of their labor, right? More of the money that they earned in order to live. Why? So that we can combat climate change. So that we can combat climate change, ladies and gentlemen. But with all of that money that they've taken away in the last couple of decades, with all of those trillions of dollars, not only are we not using less oil, but we're using like 25% more oil today than we were about 12, 13 years ago. So what have they done? What good has all of that taxation done? What good has all of that money done? All that money that they stripped from humanity all over the world, in all of these countries, what good has it done to tax all these people where many of them can't even afford to eat? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's in Canada that the electricity bills are so high that a lot of people can't afford their electricity bills over their mortgage, that their electricity bills are like higher than their mortgage. Look at the electricity bills over in Germany, in Europe, how high they are, that so many people have gone out of business. People are just not having any electricity at all, right? Look at all of that money that has been extracted from humanity. What good has it done when we're using more oil today than what we were when they started this nonsense with climate change? Why are we using more oil? We should be using like half as much oil because of all the innovation and all of the new technology that they've come up with all of this money that they've taken from us. But no, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that are very, very rich. There's a whole bunch of people, one in specific, a former vice president that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, if not over $1 billion by now, who's been pushing this from day one. A lot of people gotten really rich off of this green stuff, huh? Except for the people that are voting for it. Like I said, fear is everything. You make the people afraid enough and they'll vote for their own enslavement, ladies and gentlemen. Kidsy, good try, all right? You almost got me going on a rant there. That's right, Mama Bear. Mama Bear, that's what I've always said. You've often heard me say family, church, community. Right? Family, church, community. That's what it's all about. All right, let me bring it down. Outlaw Farms asks, can you charge a solar generator with a windmill? Well, you would. Yes, you can. All right, but you would have to make that windmill's energy fully convertible to AC power. Okay. Or maybe get a MC4 adapter for it or something like that. But what I would do if I wanted to do that was I would set up my windmill. You're going to need a charge controller, and then you're going to need a charge controller over to a battery, and then a battery over to an inverter, right? And then from that inverter, you're going to go ahead and charge your solar generator with it, with AC power. Or if you can go from the charge controller right to some MC4 connectors that are still 12 volt, then you can charge it with an MC4 connector via the 12 volt charging system that you have instead of AC. All right. So, I mean, one way or another, you can do that, but you'd have to set it up the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, Yarn Prepper brings up a great point. Listen, I never really asked for money or anything like that. I don't have any links for you to send money to. That Buy Me a Coffee link is still out there somewhere because every once in a while I get like a $3 coffee, but I don't ask for any of that. But if you want to support content creators, if you want to support this channel or any channel that you really enjoy, let 1 or 2 ads run through when you watch a video, and you don't have to let them run through all the way. If you let them run to like up to 30 seconds, it gives that channel credit for that ad, and it really does help. All right, that's one of the ways that it helps. And I heard Gray say on one of his last live streams, if not his last live streams, he was saying that a way that you can support your creators or the people that you follow on YouTube is to go ahead and play their playlists on a separate computer, and just let it play through. And that really helps because when you watch the video all the way through, it really helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. So if you get too bored of this ugly mug here about halfway through the video, just let it play through. Go make yourself a coffee or something because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And I honestly do think that a lot of the information that I put out there, ladies and gentlemen, I honestly think that it's worth listening to and that is worth other people listening to it. So if you doing that will help, the message get out to more people, that's even better. Okay, bringing it down. Okay. I see. I thought someone was asking me a question. They were just answering someone else. If you have a question or something that you want to share with everyone, go ahead and put it all in caps, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, bringing it down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a good question. Can an EcoFlow be recharged using a gasoline generator? Any solar generator can be recharged or charged using a gasoline generator, right? Because any gasoline generator is going to have your AC outlet, just like your regular house outlet. Any gasoline or even LP generator is going to have your AC outlet, right? And you can charge a solar generator, any solar generator, with an AC outlet, right? So yes, the answer is yes. But it's not just an EcoFlow. It could be any solar generator can be charged with a gasoline generator. Okay. I'm trying to find Any questions? But if I miss it, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that I apologize. Franny Cascadia, thank you very much for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Evita Cooks asks, can you tell us your thoughts about the roll-up for the Fed Now? Well, the Fed Now, ladies and gentlemen, is not a CBDC. It is just a system by which banks can use to interact with each other in real time. So if I'm Bank A and I want to transfer X number of dollars to Bank B, boom, it's done in real time. We don't have to wait till the end of the day and do our books and stuff and send it to the Federal Reserve or whatever so that we can know. No, so that it can post the next day. It's done in real time. So it's kind of like a banking system, not really a cryptocurrency, but a system where banks can act now, right? It's like instant banking for banks. That's how I see it. But the Fed Now is a gateway to a CBDC. That's what the Fed Now is. So first they push the Fed Now on the banks, and then the next thing that's going to happen, once we have that big crisis, remember, we need a big crisis before the people can say, give me that CBDC. They're not going to offer you the CBDC. You are going to ask for it. And yes, I understand. I don't mean you, but I mean in general. They're going to scare the people enough. They're going to put enough people in dire straits. Remember that our middle class is shrinking. And what is it, like 60%, 63% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, have less than $400 in the bank. All we need is one real big major crisis. And we have more than half of the population that would be willing to say, yes, I'll take whatever you have to give. Just make the pain go away. Right? So the Fed Now will come out. They'll go ahead and tout it and say, hey, this is great. This is working so awesome. Then we'll have some kind of a crisis. And then the people will ask for that. The government will say, hey, we can take the pain away if you do this. And the people will be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And things are going to go great. Things will go great for a while. Because as long as there is still cash in the system, as long as there are still physical bills in the system, things are going to go great. But eventually something will happen where the cash will be gone. Right? And once that cash is gone, you better get ready for that social credit score. ESG is a social credit score for corporations and banks and businesses. And it will also be used as a social credit score for you, ladies and gentlemen, if we enter into a CBDC. So the Fed Now is just the very first step towards a CBDC. And that's my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, everybody likes 4 o'clock. I'm just here now getting to the whether you like 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock. I've had one no, and every other one is yes. The Redneck Prepper is in the house. How you doing, Redneck Prepper? Good to see you. Let's see. Everyone is a yes for 4 o'clock, one no. So overwhelmingly yes. Oh, man. Okay. You see, I figured that 4 o'clock on Crazy Backyard Chicken Man. How you doing? I figured that 4 o'clock on Friday may be a little too late for like those of you that live Central and East Coast time, because maybe you'd be out on a date or watching a movie or something like that. But yeah, we can go ahead and make it 4 o'clock, and then every once in a while we can do a 2 o'clock or something. So those that maybe can't make it to the 4 o'clock can make it. But it seems here, you see, we've got two no's. So we can probably do that. Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot for the input. That's actually very, very helpful. Let's see. I tried to get to as many of you as possible, but obviously you all know that you can never please everyone. Not meaning that people are whining about it, nobody's complaining about it, but you can't ever be able to accommodate everyone's preferred time, obviously. Let's see. Pat Small asks, how long can the solar panels stay outside? I've left my solar panels this summer. I've left them outside all summer long so far, and in the rain and dust and everything, they've been fine. And even the Opus solar panels that I have outside, those Opus are not waterproof. Okay, they're water resistant. They're not waterproof, but they are just fine. I just make sure that the connections I put under something that if it rains, that they don't get wet. But the solar panels themselves, they've been getting wet, they've been getting wind, they've been getting dust. Nothing wrong with them whatsoever, and they're still working just fine. Okay. Now, the Opus solar panels and the solar panels that you're going to see on my next video, where I do that little experiment, those solar panels are like portable solar panels. So I will be taking those down and putting them away for the winter. Because in the winter time here, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, there's just no sense in having any solar panels out because we just don't get any sun at all. And the sunlight that we do get is just a glimmer of the sunlight from behind the ridge line. So we don't even see the sun. We just see a little bit of the light that's coming through the ridge line. So I'll just take them and put them away for the winter time. Okay. All right, bringing it down some. Yeah, look at this. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, the thing is that, let me read this first, okay, from Empress Jennifer. In Canada, we have the highest utility rates in all of North America, and most cannot afford to heat homes in winter, and firewood doubles out here. Where I'm at, it's like third world living. And the thing is that those that put forth these policies that make it unbearable for most people to be able to afford to heat their homes in the winter, those that put forward these policies, they have no problem heating their homes. Why? Because they're using your tax dollars to heat their homes. And that's where Ayn Rand said it right. I'll say it again. When governments no longer write laws to protect the people against government, but write laws to protect government against the people, society is lost. And isn't this exactly what we see going on now? Not only here in the US, but in many other countries as well. In almost every country, really, to tell you the truth. Okay. Yeah, Jeff, doing all that DC to DC is not very efficient. Yeah, you're 100% right. But if that's all you have, you know, like the scenario is that's what you have, right? So that's what you have. But you're right, it's not very efficient at all. Joel Eichner asks, I think Joel is asking me this. Am I a Fed? You mean like if I'm a federal plant on YouTube? No. Oh, goodness. What if I said yes? Now you're confused, aren't you? No, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, goodness. Yep, that's it. And you know what, Joyce? I'm so happy to see that, unfortunately, but I'm happy to see that you know what this word means. And in a way, we're going to find out that has been already done. We just haven't seen the results from it here. Maya Fed. Yes, indeed, Jeff. Good thinking. Yes, some solar generators will take a charge from your USB-C port. Some of them will, not all of them, but some of them will take a charge from your USB-C port. So yeah, good point. Okay. Oh, this is a great question too, Dorothy. Dorothy asks, what is a good amount of cash to keep on hand? My rule of thumb is that once you're all prepared and you have everything that you need, you have an emergency fund, all right? You have a little emergency fund just in case, that you keep at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in the bank, right? Because most of us write our bills or pay our bills from the bank account, right? Most of us do. Right. And then also keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash in a place that you can get to very quickly, be it somewhere in your house, in a safe, somewhere that you can get to it within an hour if you need it. Right. That way, if the banks go down, you still have 3 to 6 months of expenses in that's liquid that you can get to within an hour. But if something happens where like you lose your job or you break a leg or something like that, you have 3 to 6 months in the bank and you can just continue to pay bills as you normally do, except you're laying in bed with a broken leg, right? So that's what I think. That's for me. That's rule of thumbs. Yeah, there you go, Jeff. 6 months of living. Yep, I agree with that 100%. Sue Ladine asks, any recommendation for solar panels? Blue Eddy is showing about $800 for 350-watt solar panel. If you take a look at my Amazon storefront, you'll take a look at power generation. I have a tab that says power generation, and I have some solar panels there that are pretty inexpensive. They're like less than $100 for 100-watt solar panels, and two of those solar panels are the ones that I told you I've been using for like 8 years, and just fine. The only thing that I would do with those solar panels, if you get more than one, I would get some extra MC4 adapters. That way you can connect them in parallel. All right. When you connect them in parallel, you're going to get more energy out of them instead of connecting them in series. All right. And if you connect too many of them in series, depending on your solar generator, you may be over the amount of volts that you need. All right. So it's very easy. If I just lost you as far as connecting them in parallel or series, just get on YouTube and type in, how do I connect my solar panels in parallel or in series? And you'll get 1,000 videos come up that show you how to do it. Oh, there you go. Did Ms. Lynette Zhang? I just saw an interview with Ms. Lynette Zhang today, actually, at Stansberry Research. FedNow is the introduction to CBDC. Yep, and that's pretty much what it is. It's like the gateway to CBDCs. Thank you, Brenda. The real trick to solar and mini wind turbine is not about how much you can generate. It's all about how much you can store. Yeah, absolutely. I can run my entire ranch for 2 weeks without generating off. That's awesome. That means that you have some heavy duty batteries. Absolutely. Batteries is very important. And depending on where you live would depend what kind of batteries you want. Because if like here in Alaska, if I'm going to be keeping batteries outside, if I was going to have enough power to like power my house for a month or whatever, and I have to keep batteries outside, I would want to have AGM batteries, which don't have as many life cycles as a lithium iron phosphate battery, but AGM batteries can withstand a lot of cold weather, whereas lithium batteries really can't stand that much cold. I believe AGM will go all the way down to like -50 or -60, especially if they're in the state of float. So yeah, depending what kind of batteries, depending where you live, and yeah, having a lot of battery storage also works. That's why I love solar generators that have external batteries that can get you more battery storage. The OPS Mega 5 here comes with one external battery that you can purchase for it at what I think is a great price. I mean, this may sound pricey as far as the number, but for a 5,000 watt hour external battery for the Opus Mega 5, it's like $2,300. That's less than 50 cents per watt hour. I think that's a great price. And 5,000 watt hours will run my house for probably about 2.5, 3 days. So, if you have that, the actual unit plus an external battery, that's like a week's worth of energy for the things that are essential to your house. Not for probably everything, but for the things that are essential for you to be able to continue to live okay without having any worries. Excuse me. Elo Talks asks questions. Besides metals, where can we hold our dough outside the system? I hear that limits can be set on saying, yeah, capital controls can be instituted at any time, meaning how much you can take out of the bank and all that kind of stuff. I mean, in goods and service, I mean, not services, but in goods. I mean, have all your preps, have extra stuff of what you need. I mean, if you have that much money, then that's a good problem to have. But if see, I'm not that big of a proponent of getting property because you're going to have to pay property taxes. So it's why I really like, precious metals, because you can store a lot of energy in a very small piece of metal. You can store a lot of energy in that. But yeah, property, if you want to get property, I mean, there's some property here in Alaska that's way north of us. That's in the bush, is what I call it, where there is no property tax. And that's where I'll be looking to buy some property in the future if I do. But yeah, get more stuff of the stuff that you already have, get land. But me, I think metals is good. I don't really like to dabble in the stock market too much, but I do have a very small vested interest in some mining stocks and some mining companies. I think that's a great place to be putting a little bit of capital now. All right. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think that's a great place to be looking at right now to put a little bit of capital that maybe you want to have work for you exponentially. I think that the mining stocks right now are hated. Not too many people are looking at them. They're probably the lowest that they've been in over a decade. And I think that when gold and silver take off, that the mining stocks are going to take off way, way more than percentage of gold and silver taking off. All right. Gold and silver is for safety, in my opinion, and for preservation of wealth. And mining stocks or stocks in general is just 100% speculative. All right. So that you can make money, so that you can get more money that's real money and put it away and leave a legacy for your children. How you doing, William Ashley? Good to see you. Kay Paul, good to see you. Good night, Lori. Good night. Have a good evening. Well, Amazing Grandma asked, does it matter if you have good or bad credit? In all honesty, I have no idea what my credit score is. I have one credit card that I use. I use it for everything. I don't have any notes on anything. I have no idea what my credit score is. It's probably bad because, well, I use my credit card all the time and I pay it off 3 months. So it might be good because of that, but I have no idea what it is. So I really couldn't tell you if it's good or bad to have a good or bad credit score. Oh, my goodness. Katrina asked, this is a very tough question, Katrina. Katrina asks, what is your absolute favorite brand of solar generator? The thing is that it depends what you need it for. My absolute favorite solar generator, all right? And it's not even the brand, it's the solar generator. It's this one. It's the Opus Mega 5. And I'll tell you why. Not because I'm partnered with Opus, no, but because that solar generator, for the price and for what it can do, I think is very well worth it. And it is a very robust machine. It's the only solar generator that I've ever reviewed or seen that has a 4,000 watt continuous output. I haven't seen any other solar. I'm not saying that there's none out there. There probably is that I haven't seen and I haven't heard of, but I haven't seen any other solar generator that has a 4,000 watt continuous pure sine wave output. That is just awesome. It has a 7,000 watt surge, which is ridiculous, right? And it's very simple to use. And it has 5,040 watt hours and expandable to 10,080 watt hours. And all for the price of about like 59 cents or 60 cents per watt hour. I think that's an awesome deal. And for what it can do, the price is awesome, but it's not just the price for what it can do, but what it can actually do. I think 4,000 watts, you can actually run your dryer. You can, what other solar generator out there do they sell? That's just a one-piece solar generator, not one that you have to combine with something else. Because I do know that they have others that you can combine two solar generators together and then you can get 240 watts out of it. I mean, 240 volts out of it, right? This is one that you can get that out of, right? Because it has a 30 amp service port on it. So this has to be it. This one, if I could only have one and that's it, it would be this one, the Mega 5. All right. There are now this is one that's big. So like I said, it depends what it is that you need it for or what you want it for. But this one would cover anything from the top down. Now, if I were looking for like an entry level solar generator, one that's like inexpensive, but that's not a super solar generator, it's like, for example, the Opus 1800 is a great entry level solar generator. What are some of the things that I like about it? Its price is awesome. It's like 700 and something bucks for 1,800 watt of continuous output, 1,438, I think, or 32, 1,432 watt hours for 700 bucks. You can't beat that. What do I not like about it? That it has to be charged with a block. It has a charging block instead of UPS, instead of fast charging. So if you're going to charge that thing from zero, it's probably going to take you, if you're doing it with one block that takes 200 watts, it's going to take you 9 hours or 7 hours to power that thing up, right? Whereas some other solar generators, you can power them up 1,500 watts. You can power that up in an hour and a half. This one's going to take you a few hours, but look at the price. So you give up some things for a great price, or you get some really awesome things for a much higher price. So you see, it just depends on what you're looking for, what you're going to use it for, and what functions you really want, and how much you need to, how much you can spend to say what's your very best friend. But this guy right here, this Opus Mega 5, that thing is awesome. It is incredible. Okay, bringing it down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm starting to lose my voice, so oh yes, the Ocatel is a really good solar generator. I actually reviewed the Ocatel, I don't know, a year ago or so. Very, very good solar generator, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, goodness. All right, I'm getting some questions that are asked twice, which means that I'm very far behind. So let me bring it on down some. Oh, let's see here. No. Oh, let's see. Thank you, Brenda. Brenda says that my storage cells or batteries are on their own building. Yeah, for a battery bank that you have that's going to power your farm for that long, absolutely. Similar to a root cellar with a vent in the side of a hill. Stay 64 to 67. Yeah, that's awesome. That is perfect. That is perfect. That'd be nice to have here. I have enough solar generators where I may have to build a root cellar for them. Republic 1776, how you doing? Let's see, the UN and the WEF, the unelected, right? Want to change the name of ESG because of the stigma. That's okay, because that's what we're here for, Republic. That's what we're here for. Let them change it. Let them change it, because as soon as one of us here in the prepper community or in the truth-telling community, as soon as one of us finds out, we'll be out here telling you what it is. So they can change it all they want. They can change it all they want. Listen, in the end, we are going to win. We will win in the end. That is guaranteed. And they know this, but they want to bring down the ship with them. Right? They know this, ladies and gentlemen. But in the end, we will win. Let them change the name however many times they want. It's not going to change a darn thing. We will come out here and we will talk about it, and we will say that they changed the name to this. So don't be fooled. It's just like they changed the name of GMO. You know how they used to say GMO? Now it's I forgot what it says now. It's something by bioengineered item or something like that. So, but as soon as somebody got onto that, they went on here on YouTube and said, hey, this is what they're changing it to. So be on the lookout for this on the ingredients list. Actually, Sherry asked, could a solar generator run a well if a pump plug was installed? The Mega 5 does have a 30 amp plug on it. So I'm pretty sure that it could. Oh, yeah, I've got one for you here. Kathleen Maddox says, AP, what is a good whole house dual fuel generator? The Furman that I have is a tri-fuel, meaning that it does gasoline, liquid propane, and natural gas, right? That one, I've had it for, I don't know, about 3 years now, maybe 4, I think, if not longer. And the most that I've ever used it for was for like 2.5 days straight. It's never failed me. The last time that I used it was in the middle of winter. I went out there. It's got an electric start. I went out there to start it. It started right up, right? It's got a little AGM battery for the electric start. It started right up. I can't say anything bad about that generator because it's never failed me. It's always done what it's supposed to do. And it's a very good, hardy generator. And the reason why I have that big generator is I don't really need it anymore because I have so many solar generators, and the method by which I can power my solar generators using a small gas generator. But the main reason why I have that is, or I got it a few years back, is that just in case we had a very long power outage where my neighbors wanted to share power, putting an electric cord all the way to their homes, like a few 100 feet of electric cord, which is doable, right? And they wanted to chip in on gas. That's why I got it, so that we can help out if we ever needed to. But really, I don't really foresee needing it anytime in the near future. The 49 states, should I keep my Goal Zero plugged in 24/7? I've kept my Goal Zero plugged in 24/7 for years. And I think that it's good that you do that, because it keeps that battery nice and fresh. It keeps it in a state of float, which is better for the battery, especially being that the Goal Zero, at least the one that I have the Yeti 1100, that Goal Zero does not have a lithium ion battery. I believe it's got an AGM battery in there, right? I could be wrong because I've got so many darn solar generators, but I think it's got an AGM battery in there. But keeping that battery in the state of float is the best thing that you can do for that battery. So I've done it for years. I just had to use it the other day. It works just fine. And it's one of my my first or second oldest. It's one of my two oldest solar generators that I own. Oh, Republic, is that USR? Well, SR, man. I'm glad that you told me that. If not, I would have never known that was you. Well, good to see you, brother. Let's see. Oh, goodness. I think we may be catching up. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. No, I think we're caught up. All right. Bringing it down some. Oh, sorry about that. There's this one. Kathleen, it's not a Gold Zero. It's a Goal Zero. GOALD. Goal Zero. It's just a brand name for a solar generator and a brand name for a lot of things. Like I have a Goal Zero flashlights, the lanterns. I love those things, by the way. So that's what that is, Goal Zero. Woo. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. We're at 1 hour and 41 minutes. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it for today. All right. Listen, thank you very much for joining in. Let's do a quick Friday safety brief. For those of you that are new to the live stream, or for those of you that have subscribed within the last couple of weeks or so, stay till the end, because during our outro, if you put "I am new" in the chats in all capital letters, our community members will welcome you to our community, and we'll be able to shout out your name on the screen. All right, so stay till the outro. But every Friday, whenever I do a live stream, we always have a safety brief, and it's very simple. All I do is ask that you don't drink and drive, ladies and gentlemen. You work very hard this week, and you want to have a good time. And it's Friday night, right? So don't drink and drive. Go out there and have a great time. If you're going to drive, do not drink. If you're going to drink, do not drive. And get enough money in your wallet to catch an Uber or an app for an Uber, or get a taxi, or just have a designated driver. Don't ruin your life just for a few minutes worth of fun. Right? Having said that, I hope that you have a great weekend. Be safe. God bless every one of you. God bless America. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to every one of you and your families. And thank you very much for all of your support, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe out there. And we'll see you on our next video, probably tomorrow or the day after. God bless every one of you. All right. We'll see you all later on. And stay tuned for the outro. So all of our newbies, go ahead and say, "I am new" if you are new. God bless you all.